Samsung Galaxy G Fold or Z Trifold, the Samsung triple screen device. Now, this is really interesting because we've had some very, very interesting leaks and rumors for this. We're not sure what it's going to be called. It might be called the G Fold. It might be called the Z Trifold or the Z Trifold. It's funny because it's not actually, it only has 2 folds from everything we can see, right? But I think it's kind of got that name because of the 3 screens. But anyway, rumors are that it's going to support a 6.54-inch cover screen and a 10.1-inch folding screen. Now, what's interesting is we've seen a triple screen device before, which was the Huawei Mate XT. However, from what we're seeing right now, there was some animation files that were within the latest One UI 8 build that Android Authority found. And they found that it's actually going to have a cover screen and then it's going to kind of fold out. So if we consider that you have the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7, which you open up, you'd have another layer which would open up after that, right? So it's essentially going to have the folding screen will never be exposed, right? As in when it's closed. So it's not going to be exposed to the elements. It's not going to be, you don't have to worry about it, put it going in and out of your pocket. Something which you would have to worry about with something like the Mate XT because the display is foldable display throughout, right? Whereas what Samsung's doing is kind of, I would say, an evolution to the Z Fold, right? It's not necessarily something completely different. It's kind of like the evolution of this. All right, this one folds out once. We're going to make it fold out again. So it's kind of like a layered version of the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7, which I think is actually quite interesting. And it does make it quite appealing. Yes, you're not going to be able to use it in the 3 different variants like you can do with the XT, because with the Huawei XT, you can have just the normal, like a regular smartphone. You can fold it out once to have like a tablet sized device, and then you can fold it out again to have a huge tablet. So you're not going to have the 3 steps like that, but it's going to mean that this folding screen is going to be a lot more protected.
When I first saw it, I was like, you're going to get a ding. But then I thought about it from a more practical point of view, especially now that I'm officially using the Z Fold as my main devices. Number one, how many times do I actually open up my foldable? If I am, say, reading a long article, I would use it. If I'm watching movies, anime, sure, I always open it up that way. But like, how many times would you? So why not actually have a nice tier device setup where if you want an 8-inch tablet, you buy the Z Fold. If you want a 10-inch tablet, you get the G Fold, right? Or Z Fold, Trifold, whatever they want to call it. But I like that approach for what you're looking for as a user. It really depends. And also, as Saf mentioned, you've got more durability on the device because you're only going to have basically 2 scenarios open at the same time. And I think this is something that we face on the PC side, is that, PC market had laptops that could go into different configurations. How many of those configurations do you actually use? We have tent mode, we have lap mode, we have laptop mode, we have hang on the ceiling mode. No, you don't need all of this, right? So that is something that, yes, it may seem like it's limited, but in practical, in scenarios, like, how many of those modes are you actually going to use? Now, it would be interesting to see if this actually comes with an S Pen, especially because it's a bigger tablet that rolls out. Whether it's an internal S Pen or an external S Pen, I would just want to see if that's something that they include with this, because of just the larger landscape that it affords for users, and what it actually brings to the table.
I doubt it that it's going to have an S Pen, not for this version anyway.
Wow. Yeah. Thanks for just killing it. Sorry, you just killed it.
I was just like,
bro.
I just think because of its thinness and stuff, obviously they couldn't fit a digitizer in the Z Fold 7, so I don't think they're going to put it in this one. Maybe next year. What I'm interested in, if you look at some of these animations from Android Authority that they found from One UI 8, it kind of like shows the device, freaking out when you try to close the camera portion first, because it can only fold in one way, right? So you have to have one portion folded first, then you have the other portion folded. You can't kind of have the camera before the other side.
Yeah.
So I wonder, like, from a durability point of view, how that's going to work. Obviously, the phone will probably freak out if you were trying to do it that way. the other thing as well is that current rumors are, because this device has been in development, that it's gonna actually come with the Snapdragon 8 Elite, not the 8 Elite Gen 5. So not the chip that's the new one, the one that's going to be on the flagships for 2026, but instead it's going to be the same as what we've got on the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7. Not a huge deal in my opinion, but it's just, if you're going to be paying a lot of money, which currently the rumors are it's going to be around $3,000, I mean, you'd want the latest chip, right?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, this is where Samsung drops the ball again. This happened last year at Snapdragon Summit, where they announced that same day they also announced the special edition Galaxy Z Fold, right? Didn't come with a new chip. It was only launched in Korea. I feel there's no rumors or anything that this device will also be Korea too, simply because US and tariffs, that's a whole nother ballgame. We don't even know what's going on with that. And then also, again, we're not getting the latest chip in there, which to me is just something that there should have been some foresight into this as well. Maybe yes, it's not getting the Snapdragon for Galaxy, which would be the overclocked version, which is fine. That's reserved for the S line. But give us the latest.
Well, this is the thing. I think because this is a new concept and it's not something people have seen before or tried before, and Samsung can really bring it to the masses if they wanted. So I think because of that, it's something that you're not going to get the best of everything. Also, the cameras, as far as we can tell, and from what we're seeing on leaks and rumors, there's nothing solid, but it looks like it's going to have a similar camera setup to the Z Fold 7. So a 200 megapixel primary, 12 megapixel ultra wide, as well as a 10 megapixel telephoto with the selfie cameras, of course. But you mentioned about where it's going to come out. So initial rumors were that it's just going to be a Korea and maybe China only device. But recently, there have been some rumors that it might be expanding to other markets. So that's something that we're going to have to wait and see. Official announcement date. So some reports out of Korea saying that they might unveil it. Recent rumors are saying that they might unveil it in the APEC summit in Korea, which is like towards the end of October, I believe.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess so. I think what it is that you're right in the sense that they've been working on this for a while. They need to release it now because we know next year it will launch in July with the other foldables at the same time. To give it that breath, at least get some sales in, make a light launch of it and see where the market is for it, where people, how interested people are, how willing are people to pay $3,000 for a smartphone and tablet. And then we can see that come next year. So I think that's possible. And I think you're right. It's going to be very region specific with this device. I still feel it's not coming to North America. I think it might definitely come to Europe and some places in Europe, but I think North America is just a bust because practically right now it makes no sense to release anything of that price point without not knowing what the tariff pricing would be, and how you're going to release it within the country. So to me, it's just not a logical bet. Maybe there's something you could special order, but I still don't see it come here.
Here's a question. I'm using the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7 as my daily. You're using the Z Fold 7 as your daily. Will you switch to this?
Depends on how I have a feeling I probably won't. I'll be honest. I have a feeling I probably won't. I feel like the Z Fold 7 is almost, I feel I need it to be slightly wider. That's me personally. But it depends on how thin this device is and also how practical is it for me to just open up and use as a 10-inch tablet. Maybe just because, I have a son and being able to put like Miss Rachel on for him to watch on a big screen made sense. That I probably was like,
awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, she is. So basically that would be something that makes sense for me to actually use. But I right now I'm saying no for now.
Okay. To answer the question for myself, yes, purely just to show off. No other reason. Because honestly speaking, like with the Z Fold 7, I think the big screen is more than big enough. Like just, for what I use it for personally, right? And that's things like if I want to compare things side by side, I've got two windows open and things like that. I don't necessarily need to open it up all the time. And with that, considering it's a bigger screen and it's more effort to kind of open it, I probably wouldn't be opening it as much. But hey, if it's coming to the UK, man, you're going to be seeing me rocking that at least up until the S26 Ultra releases, because that's going to be a head turner for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see Saf just like basically sitting on the train and going,
No, no, not here. I'm not going to be. Firstly, I don't go on the train. Secondly, if I was going on the train,
excuse me.
no, because if I was going on the train, I'd be the unreliable, very unreliable here. Anyway, very expensive as well. Try going to Leicester from Leicester to London. It's cheaper
Yes.
to fly anywhere in Europe. Possibly, actually, you know what? You could even probably go to some areas outside of Europe as
You
well.
go to Tunisia.
Yeah.
Or I've seen prices for Tunisia and Egypt for like £50.
Yeah. So way less. You could travel, very much internationally than getting a single train ticket from Leicester to London, which is about 100 miles. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why I wouldn't. Secondly, if I'm going to be going into London, then that's the capital for phone snatching. So I would be hiding that thing. that thing would not come out of my pocket. So yeah, that's not where I'm going to be showing it off. No, I just think it's cool though. I love seeing new technology, and I also like that Samsung has gone for a different approach. They've not just gone for something which we've got on the Huawei Mate X-T. I think it's the more practical option. And especially with the amount of units Samsung generally sells, I think it's the more practical option there. Whereas like, hey, this way, your folding screen, which is the most fragile part of the phone, is going to be protected at most points in time. And, they're just still working on an inner foldable, which is what their expertise is in, right? Whereas with Huawei, they have done outer foldables as well previously, so they've got a little bit more experience there. But Samsung's kind of sticking to what they know, and I think that's a good approach.